Welcome, 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 welcome. It's good to be back to the Liberian dream here. It's so great to be back from Liberia. As many of you may be aware, I've been in Liberia for the last 3 weeks and haven't been able to be on here with you, but it's good to be back. My name is Leo Nupolu Johnson, and I'm here with another edition of the Liberian dream. And today, we'll be looking at the miseducation system in Liberia. We'll be taking a few steps back. And you know, this is a matter we've always scratched the surface when people talk about, oh, education in Liberia, education this. Let's take it deeper today. Let's try to get to the crux of the matter. First of all, I will go straight into it. We apologize for being a little late on here. We have some technical issues. So let's get straight into it. Before 1800s, 1822 and upward, when we recorded the arrival of settlers from the United States and other parts of the Caribbean, let's lay the premise that there was a robust education system already existing in Liberia. This place did not exist in a vacuum. There were systems of governance in place. There were provinces. There were sophisticated chiefs, some whom could actually even speak English, or else the settlers would not have been able to have dealt with them or negotiated with them. So let's fast forward to the 1800s. When our brothers and sisters arrived from the United States, what they decided to do was to set up a new system for themselves only, was to set up a new elitist system that was only designed to educate their children because they needed to set up something that would serve their needs in the United States of America. There was always this dream that their children had to compete in the United States. Their children had to go back to the United States because they felt it was home one way or the other. So as a result, they decided to set up what they call an education system, not based on the needs and the majority of what became Liberia. No, it was meant, by and large at the time, maybe 300 or more families. So they set up the system that was based on that of the United States. Another dream they had was to build what they call Little America. That was a dream that they had in their head, that they were going to build what they call Little America. Even till late, not many years ago, we still heard people talking about Liberia was Little America. No, it wasn't. It couldn't. It wasn't possible. So they set up a system to re-envision the United States. And by the way, the United States education system was also a very racist, very marginalizing system as well. So trying to replicate that system came with all of its flaws and all of its racist embedded features in it. But let's take it further. So they set up the system, first of all, based on the English language, when maybe less than 10% of the population at the time could speak, read, write, or understand English. So ask yourself, why will you be building or developing an education system for a place and you put it in a language that very few people could speak, read, or understand in the first place? In the second place, they built an education system within a culture that was foreign. Right? So for a very long time, we know that our cultures, not just in Liberia, most African cultures are very oral. They made us to believe that when you are educated orally, you are not educated. They made us to believe if you cannot speak, read, or write English, you are uneducated. So what did they do? They dismissed all of the most educated and sophisticated people we already had in what we call Liberia today. Our chiefs, our Zols, our elders, our mothers, the custodians of our culture, many of whom were more educated than some of the settlers that went to university in the United States. But simply because they could not speak English or read English or write English, they dismissed them as uneducated and equated literacy in English to being education. Many of them who came, by the way, were uneducated as well, never went to school. But simply because they could speak English or read English or write English, they accepted to themselves that they were educated. And because our people could not speak this foreign language, they considered them to be uneducated. So what did they do? They did not just marginalize them. They kicked them out of the system. They dismissed the very culture. They dismissed the very educational systems that were already in place. And I will name you some of the education systems that were in place. The Poorer and Descendant Society. I would argue that the poorer and descendant societies remain still one of the most robust education systems ever developed in Liberia. No education system ever created is as robust and results oriented like the poorer and sender society. Let's put the facts on the table. I'm prepared to hear a counter argument. Because you know why I say so? Since 1800s, when we designed this very convoluted, disconnected education system based on the English language and literacy in English, trying to replicate the United States, which was a failed experiment anyway. Let me tell you something today. See where we are. Any education system that will educate its people to murder each other in a small country like Liberia, any education system that will educate its people that you can have a PhD, you can compete anywhere in the world, but the only way you are convinced that you can take power is through the barrels of the guns. Don't get me wrong, the war wasn't fought by ordinary uneducated people in the streets. The war was fought by some of our most educated people through this so-called Western education system that they tried to replicate in Liberia. Right? And some of y'all will start arguing, oh, the poor society can teach you chemistry, it can teach you biology. Yes, it does. Let me tell you something. You see China? You know what? Chinese traditional medicine now is being accepted in European cultures and in North American cultures. You know what? Chinese traditional medicine now is officially recognized to be a form of treatment to many of the diseases that Western medicine cannot deal with. You know why? Because they doubled down, built on what they had, invested in their traditional education. And as a result of that, the rest of the world had no choice but to accept the effectiveness and results that it showed. It's so funny in Liberia. When we've gone to all the Western medication, when they not treat us, and none of the Western medication work, guess what we do? Even the educated people, then they say they won't go to the sick bush. Oh, so you realize that the sick bush is as sophisticated, that our traditional medicines are as sophisticated, that you can go to it when Western medicine fail, right? So let me say it today. The poor and the sender society remain one of the most robust education systems ever built in Liberia, in my opinion. And you can prove me wrong on this. That's why we are having a debate here. That's why we're having a conversation on the Liberian dream. Guess what? Any education system that teaches us to memorize is not education. Memorization is not education. Many times over. How many economists do we have in Liberia? But we need to go to the IMF to figure us out. People go to agriculture college, and don't get me wrong, people will say, oh, pre-war. I agree. Pre-war, the education was the quality of education was much higher. And some of the things that I'm saying aren't being done today were being done. But guess what? The biggest missing link was the fact that our traditional education systems were not embedded into this new Western form of education. So we were educating people not for Liberia. We were educating people for the United States. We were educating people for Europe. That is the reason why when you get your education in Liberia and you come to America or Europe or other places, you tend to thrive. That is the reason why when people graduate from university in Liberia and remain in Liberia, they have to go to Red Light or Waterside Douala and sell in the wheelbarrows. That is the reason why our graduates are left walking around thinking somebody is supposed to provide them jobs, but not realizing they are supposed to be the economic engine of the country. That is the reason why the University of Liberia is a liability to the Liberian economy rather than it being an economic engine to drive the Liberian economy. Hey, if I'm wrong, tell me here. Please, somebody stop me if I'm wrong. The University of Liberia and our universities and colleges have become the greatest liability to the growth of the Liberian economy because we are educating people that have no way of becoming productive in the economy. The universities and colleges in Liberia are not the engine for driving the economy. Instead, they are liabilities. They are putting out so many graduates, none of whom are able to function in our society, neither can they find a job. Because you know what? The Western education system that we run was designed to cater to the needs of Western societies where they already have the fundamental in place, the foundational pieces in place that, you know what? When you're studying about Bunsen burner, The scene that the teacher introduces to you, there will be a Benson burner before you. When you're studying about calculus, there will be the practicality of you understanding how that mathematical formula of calculus or in calculus can turn into a computer. When you study the Pythagorean theorem, you will begin to understand how that mathematical formula within the Pythagorean theorem can be turned into an actual thing. How many of our brilliant and smart students who can solve calculus to their teeth, can solve mathematics to their teeth? You give them a simple motherboard for them to tell you plus and minus, zeros and ones. They are not able to translate their brilliance in mathematics on paper to what it should be on a motherboard, on a computer motherboard. Right? Hey, I will leave time for questions. We will take on the questions today. Let me tell you why I said the poor in the Senate society is the most robust education system ever built. Call it a Bush school if you want. Because majority of our citizens, that's where they stay, go to school. Because when I go to the countryside, to the interior, the order, the productivity, the understanding of what is taught in a poor and Senate society is evident before my eyes. I see people who go to the poor and Senate society, when they come from there, they know how to take care of a home. When they come from there, they understand their basic fundamental responsibilities to society when it comes to taking care of their children. They understand their basic fundamental responsibilities to society. They understand the moral code. We have police people and army people passing all around up interior, but we have the lowest crime rates. Come to Morovia, where we got everybody here has the highest crime rates. They understand the basic fundamentals of farming. When they come out of the poor and Senate society, why you can only plant pepper here this time and not rice. We got University of Liberia Agriculture College. We can teach people how to plant rice. We're still struggling where to get rice from to eat. Again, this is a very hard topic. I know people, those of you who went to Western education like myself, will want to debate it. I'm telling you today, Liberia as a country does not have the fundamental foundations in place. We are not America. We are not Great Britain. No, we are not. If you start to go to other African countries who are doing well, you will quickly start to see one of the unique things they've done is embedding their traditional education systems within their formal education system. I'm not saying get rid of Western education. No, there are a lot of value in Western education, but we are not even capable of delivering Western education. The resources we need, the textbooks we need, the laboratories we need, we don't even have them. We are not capable of utilizing Western education. That is the reason why when anybody go overseas and go to university, to the big university, when they come to Liberia, only government jobs they can do. That's it. And even in their government jobs, they fail flat in their government jobs. How many economists we didn't bring to Liberia during Ellen Johnson's elite? All of the Cornell graduates, the Harvard graduates. Think about the Oxford graduates. Who we didn't bring to Liberia? We still could not figure out how to build a sustainable economy. We were still an economy relying on aid. Almost 20 years after the war. Where are our experts? All the people who go to university overseas, when we bring them to Liberia, they can only work in government. They don't come back to build a new private economic system. They don't come back to build a new private sector. They don't come back to tell us, you say you study agriculture to Oxford or Harvard or wherever. You come Liberia, instead of you developing something, a government that has a budget of 500 million, that the government you choose to go into to say you can use a $500 million budget, probably you got 7 million inside agriculture. You are convinced and you are telling people that you can build the Liberian agriculture sector with $7 million. You don't look at the government and tell them in their face, you guys are joking. That's voodoo economics. Sorry, I can't take that job because it's impossible to do what you're asking. But I will do it privately. You know how many grants are available in a diaspora? You know how many grants, private grants, that people will give to private researchers? All the big Western researchers you see go to Liberia, you know what they go there on? Grants. Where are ours? It is because our country is not designed to take advantage of that type of education. It's the truth. You have to remember what Germany did. When Germany came out of World War II, it was decimated. It was decimated. Liberia not even close to what Germany was. Germany was worse than what Liberia is today. Ex-combatants, they were dead. Drug dealers, economic, evaporated. You name anything in Germany, it was non-existent. You know what the Germans did? They decided to build an education system that was responsive to their immediate needs. And you know what the immediate needs were? Plumbers, carpenters, engineers, bricklayers, farmers. No, they did not start to create psychologists, business administration, public, all the management we can do. No. That was not their immediate need. So they built an education system called the technical colleges in Germany. Till today's date, 52% of all young people leaving high school in Germany go to a technical university or a technical college. As a result, Germany has the lowest youth unemployment rate in the world. And you can hear German economy. Germany still holds the strongest economy in Europe till today's date. They're not voodoo. They decided to build an economy and an education system that was responsive to their needs. No, we decided in Liberia that we will continue to try to build an economic system responsive to America's needs or responsive to Western country needs. So we photocopying the same thing we did. We photocopy all these things and try to plant it in Liberia when it absolutely makes no sense. So what we've done, we make Monrovia look like Liberia. You know why all of the educated people we got, Monrovia is filtered. We can figure out garbage. Even trying to lay out the city to make sense, we can figure it out. No, we can't. All our BB experts in government. Some of them stay in the legislature. Some of them been ministers. They've been presidents. You name all of them. We brought them. Harvard, we've gone through several of them. Oxford, you work at a big university in the world. We haven't brought that person yet to Liberia to come and try. It will not work. Because your formulas and systems that you memorize in the United States and every place, it's not the same here. So the education system in Liberia is a miseducation system. Look, doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result is insanity. Can you ask yourself, how come we're graduating all these people? How come we are educating all these people in this miseducation system? Yet we cannot figure out how to grow rice to eat. Yet we cannot figure out how to deal with garbage. Yet we cannot figure out how to treat treatable diseases, right? Practical treatable diseases. Yet we cannot figure out how to deal with malaria, even though it's been with us forever. Yet we cannot figure out how to produce rubber gloves for our nurses and doctors in the hospital. Yet we cannot figure out, all the people we are educating, we still cannot figure out how to organize real market so that we know what is real market input to the Liberian economy, so that when we're giving numbers to the IMF, real can be included too. Yet we do not know how to organize waterside market. We pretend that these markets don't exist. We go to Cinco and collect a few supermarkets and there and a few BB stores there. Then we tell the IMF, the Liberian economic number. What happened to the numbers in Rayla and Douala? In fact, I will argue Douala, Waterside, Rayla, and similar markets constitute 75% of the Liberian economy. So that numbers you have been giving to IMF, that garbage. That the reason why all the IMF projections are just garbage itself. You get IMF garbage, IMF gave you back garbage. Because 70 to 75% of our people don't go to the supermarkets that you're relying on. They go to Rayla, Douala, Waterside, and similar markets. That is where the economic engine is. If each of them spend $1 a day in our market and 35,000 go there, that's $35,000 every single day. But because we have failed to organize it, we ignore Rayla then. Everybody just go, ooh. People in Rayla market don't even know the taxes for most of them is about 4,000 Liberian dollars the whole year. The whole year, 4,000 Liberian dollars. But they will never pay because we've never given them any recognition. We never organized their marketplaces. 2022, at the time we cutting ribbons for market hall that look a little bit okay. For what constitutes the greatest portion of the Liberian economy. This is mixed priority. So the education system is a miseducation system. You stop lying to us that you can fix it. No, it needs a complete transformation. You can fix this thing. It's insanity. We're doing the same thing over and over. We cannot fix it. We need a complete transformation. 1990 war came, we destroy everything that were there. Even the parts of it that were productive before the war, we destroy it. Even though it was only meant for a small number of people anyway, but we destroy it. And then you're pretending like we can just continue from where we stop. I'm sorry. We burnt it down, we destroy it. Let's build anew. Let's build something that is reflective of the majority of our people. Let's build an education system that the young girl in Zogowi can see herself reflected in it. Let's build an education system that the pape who, when snake bite the people in the town, knows a certain leaf to put to that mark, it will draw the poison from your blood, that he can see himself within that education system. Let's build an education system that the woman who knows when to plant pepper versus rice versus bitter balls can see herself within that education system. Let's build an education system that the woman who knows when the water and the tides will rise, when to fish, when to go fish and when not to go, when to catch more fish or when to harvest or not, who knows that can also see themselves a part of that education system. Let us stop this whole nonsense of trying to be like we're America. The people who can open their mouth and speak small English, memorize a lot, then we say they're educated. That's why we are where we are, because most of our educated people memorize and pass. That's why when I see us hailing children for Dusing School in Liberia, I can take a step back. Did we educate them, or did they memorize and give us exactly what we wanted to see on the test, so we gave them an A+? Because that is not education. I would argue that majority of our students in Liberia are memorizing and passing. They are not learning. That is not education, my friends. And majority of our people who learn how to speak English, read and write English, you can be very literate in the English language and be very uneducated. You can go to high school and be uneducated. You can go to university and be uneducated. You can be someone who never went to university ever, or even go to school ever. Don't speak English, read or write English, and be more sophisticated and educated than someone who went. So when you start disrespecting our chiefs who have kept the balance of our society in check, when you start disrespecting our souls, when you start calling our education systems like the poor and sender society despicable names, right? But you can call other fraternities, foreign fraternities, your own on them. But you will despise, abuse, insult your own. Now, before you go too far, don't get me wrong. The sender and the poor societies are not perfect. Far from perfect. There are all kinds of issues involved. But we're not throw ourselves away only because there are problems. Real leaders double down, address the issues. Look, let me say this today. I said this to somebody privately. I will say it publicly for our viewers. Instead of coming to New York City, Washington, D.C., London, and hosting conference to talk about what they call female genital mutilation, instead of doing that, what stops our leaders from hosting a private conference? Why will you be coming to people in America and in the West to educate you about what you need to do about your own culture and tradition? Man, people, isn't that an insult? Is it just me? What's wrong with our president calling a meeting in Vonjama or in Zwedru or in Plibo and bringing our chiefs and elders and zols to the table, both the males and the females across the country, a private section, no cameras, no media. The president has come to talk to the elders and say, our elders, this issue you've been hearing around the thing they call female genital mutilation that we practice, this is a private section. I've come to you people because there is a problem in the land. And here is the problem. Those days, we didn't know, but now we've come to realize this thing has a lot of danger. And our girls and women are running away from our culture because of their fear of how dangerous this could be to them. We don't want our children running away from our culture, our people. In fact, we should make it mandatory in our country. So I am commissioning you, our elders and zols and chief. And by the way, when you go to your conferences in New York and DC, and you can get your DSA, put $1.5 million on the table. Tell our chiefs and elders, I am commissioning you in 9 months to go to your caucus, bring about a solution that will deal with this problem once and for all, so that all of our children can know it is their responsibility to be part of our societies. What's wrong with that? That's respect. That's honor. That's how you bring about transformation, not to go to Washington, D.C. and New York and Brussels and write multiple papers and then come back to Liberia and insult our people, talk about they are barbaric, they are wicked, they are this. When the issue of female genital mutilation was introduced in our societies, it wasn't designed to be an act of mutilation. So Westerners choose that word very carefully, mutilation, just so you know. Why don't they call circumcision male mutilation? You think about it. Why don't we call circumcision male mutilation? That is meant to demean and humiliate our cultures and our elders. You take one thing in our culture, and you run with it and insult us when you know nothing, you know zilch about what happens in our culture. And then we sit there, instead of us knowing that this is a problem, and people, let us get to the basis of it. Let us resolve it. Let's accept and acknowledge the danger of this practice to our women. But who are supposed to lead the charge in changing it? Our chief elders and souls. If it means we'll take 10 years on talking to them and engaging it, so be it. Let's stop coming to white people to beg them for money to go and insult our people and call them barbaric. So the education system in Liberia is a miseducation system, I repeat. And I dare you me, another 10 years will come, we'll be right here. Emma said, what there? We brought all the experts from around the world. And they said because all meal left, that what the economy went by, as if we did not know all meal were coming leave. What didn't stop you from preparing yourself to deal with all meal departure? What, we didn't know? All meal just got our one money and surprise us? And now we in another place, on the economy and telling, we got to wait for what the IMF say. Then we run around with it. You get the IMF fake numbers, the IMF will get you fake numbers, that garbage in, garbage out. In fact, the IMF should be ashamed of themselves to be doing this thing over and over and then realizing that they're giving them fake numbers. But we'll stop there and take some of our comments. And let's see what some of our comments are saying here. Do we have some comments up? Can we take some comments? Okay, while we are getting ready to take some comments, I will continue. So please, I'm begging you, we broke whatever education system we had that was already elitist before the war. It was good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the education system before the war was bad, but it was not serving the interests of all of our people because we marginalized them. Let me tell you something. Antoinette Brown Sherman is her name. One of the most prolific Liberian educator ever. Argued way back in the 70s that if the poor and descendant societies do not become an integral part of our education system was doomed to fail. Those are not my words. Those words are from one of the most prolific Liberian educator ever. So even our honest educated people have accepted it. That is the reason why we're running around the country whole day like zombies. We won't do garbage, but then we can't beg the white people that them can't tell us how to do garbage. You know why? When you go up interior, the quality of air that you breathe is much better. By the time you leave, don't even go far up interior. By the time you get Carisburg, the quality of air that you breathe it's much, much higher. Let's look at some of the comments. Priscilla Nyinato say, hello, Leo. Watching, permit me to caution against too much generalization. Priscilla, I'm not sure. If you point out a particular generalization, then I can actually address it. So maybe you can point it out while we are on the show and I will address it, but I'm not sure what you mean by that. Anthony Fala Suarez Sr. say, I disagree with the assertion that the poor and Senate society is the most robust education system in Liberia. Anthony Fala, please tell me what is. I've just given you a lot of evidence that has shown you that the system of order and productivity and outcomes up interior is better than we have in Monrovia. So please help me understand. And don't just say Allah. Show me what else I'm not talking that makes sense. Tuni Liawe say, this brother is making sense. I must agree that he's knowledgeable about the contents of his conversation. Thank you, Tuni. I appreciate your comment. Elizana Ganda say, you are right, nephew. Good to see you, Uncle Alex. It's been a long time. Thank you for joining the show. Precious Freeman says, so true, my brother. Thank you, Precious. Appreciate it. Ahmed K. Salif II say, why are there secret societies then so that only initiates know what happens there? I agree with the general premise of our system being westernized. However, but your argument seems to be internally self-defeating. They are not secret, my brother. They got called the same way in the engineering society. When they call those that are engineers in the West, and they got a private engineering society. Only engineers go there and participate in it. It is not secret. You must be admitted by membership. It's kept sacred. There's a difference between sacred and secret. It is sacred, so it is protected in that manner. So if you want to be a part of it, you go there. In fact, if you are a Liberian, it behooves you to participate in it, right? So even in Christianity, those of you who are Christian, there are a lot of societies in Christianity. Knights of St. John, all of them. I can go on and on naming them, right? So let's not get distracted here about things being secret. No, it is sacred. It is not secret. Tuni Lewe said, Ghanaians are functional today because they built their education systems on their traditional system, beliefs, and practices. Thank you for your contribution, Tuni. Priscilla said, Leo, I suggest that you be mindful of too much. Priscilla, can you please show me the generalization? Yeah, maybe I'm generalizing, but point it out to me. Maybe I'm not aware. Then we can address it, my sister. Ameke Selu the second say every society is a reflection of its exposure to others. Thank you, Ahmed. And I'm not too sure where you were going with that. Tony Leaway say, you're so right now and forever. Thank you, Tony. That's a big statement, but thank you. Emmanuel Jackson said, rent-seeking economy. Don't consider the values of education. Thank you, Emmanuel. I agree. Edison Pajibo say, you are doing well, but I hope the message will trickle down well without you being called an intruder, even though you belong to Liberia as much as everyone else. There are people who walk in the forest but don't see a single tree. Dr. Edison Pajibo. There hasn't been a more profound statement than this on this show. Thank you so much. People won't call me intruder. Let them go ahead. I don't care. Naba Leo. Huh? So you won't call me intruder. Let's do it with Insa. Ameke Salif the second said the perception is our education system is internationalized, yet our system is not comparative. Comparative international is what you meant. Mamera, you start a whole internationalization argument because it doesn't make any sense. We're not ranked anywhere. We're not part of any international education system ranking, 0. So let's just leave that other argument and continue. Priscilla said, I meant to write. Let's be mindful of the danger of exclusionary politics. Priscilla, what's the exclusionary politics? I'm only speaking for the people who have been excluded since the 1800s. Is it wrong to advocate for those who have been excluded from their own country, from participating in their own economy, participating in their own culture? That's all. I'm not excluding anybody. I'm asking for equity to be practiced so that others can also start to enjoy and contribute to the development of our country. Priscilla Nyanata said, and maybe check our sentiments, Leo. What sentiments? President, we all got sentiments. I got my own. We all should actually check it, but it will not stop me from expressing the facts. I may be passionate about it because I'm affected by it. Tipos Pickett Dempster said, Mr. Johnson have good ideas, but his approach is unrealistic. Tipos, the realistic approach we've been doing in Liberia since 1800, and we say, Insa, you're continuing the realistic approach. I want to try something different. If you say mine is unrealistic, at least try it first. Can you give it a chance? Because the ones you've tried so far has gotten us. Where has it gotten us? Nowhere. So give me something different and give me something realistic, my brother Tipos. If you think I'm wrong, please give us something different. Dr. Edison Pajibo says, I do agree with Leo that the poorer and centered societies constitute the most robust form of indigenous system in Liberia. Every nation has its own custodian of knowledge. In Liberia, we call them Zols. India, they call them gurus. Israel, they call them rabbis. Japan, they call them the shoguns. China, they call them the Mandarin. Ghana, they call them the Obenfo. France, they call them the professors. Greece, they call them the philosophers. In Britain, they call them the tutor. And in Africa, in general, the grout or the linguist. Let us learn to cherish our. By the way, Dr. Edison Pajibo has a doctorate degree in Western education. Thank you for your contribution, sir. I couldn't have appreciated this more by breaking this down the way you've done. I got nothing to add to your comment other than thank you. President Nyananto said, Antoinette says it doesn't make it okay for all peoples of our country. President Nyananto, if you are from Liberia, you hold a Liberian passport, then how can you say the Liberian culture is not okay for all of us? I don't understand that. You came to the United States of America, right? You came to the United States of America. And you came to the United States of America? You see the way they can own house through mortgages? Can you say it's not right for you? The cultures of the United States, where there's a way you have to go shop. The cultures of the United States, where when you go into an event, you have to call somebody ahead of time before you go to their house. And we all do it. Why don't we argue that the cultures of these countries that we've come in, why don't we make that same argument only for our own? Right? In Ghana, we went there. We were subjected to the people's culture. We did. You don't even have to be a citizen. If you lived in your country, you were subjected to it. If you don't want to be Liberian, that's fine. But you can have it both ways. Aloysius Galliman said, you are right, brother. Thank you, Aloysius. Gretchen Kennedy said, thanks, bro. You are on point. George G say, what do you make Koji's graduation from you? You're controversial. My brother, I'm not here for Koji graduation. I'm talking about the education system. Y'all go deal with that part. And I'm here to fix the education system for all of our children. And I'm here to pick apart people's personal stuff. David Johnson, charity starts at home, not in government program. Thank you, David. Bob Sack says, I have a problem with FGM practice in Liberia. Bob Sack, we all have a problem with it. Let's stop having a problem and start finding a solution. We've been having a problem with it for a long time now. So I'm putting forth my own suggestion. Yeah, put forth yours. Because I've never heard a robust suggestion about this problem. I'm not sitting here and saying it's not an issue. All of us have a problem with it. But we can only have a problem with it at all. Imanta Flomo said, thanks, brother Leo. I do agree with all the issues on the discussion. Thank you. Emmanuel Barclay said, Mampiki, You are saying the hard truth, but we Liberians think the Westerners are our God. Thank you, Emmanuel, for your contribution. Bob Sack said, what benefit our Liberian women gain from being part of FGM? My brother Bob Sack, and I answer you the question, our culture and not FGM. FGM is one tiny part of what is practiced in the Sunday society. Let's propose solutions. Today, we are sitting here calling our young boys and young girls. 25 years down the road, we will be the new elders of the day. So let's start asking for solutions now. And if the solutions are not found till then we will be in a position to take it on. But to sit in Western countries, insult our people, criticize them, use all the nasty words against them. Like I said, female genital mutilation, those terms are chosen carefully by Westerners, right? To have the greatest impact of barbarism and make our people look that way. Why don't they call circumcision male genital mutilation? Why don't we have MGM, right? So again, it's a problem, but we can't keep running around with the problem. Let's try and find a solution. The numbers are out there to call. I know some of you are very passionate about this topic. If you want to call, please hit the call button. We will use the last few minutes of our time to take some calls. I've said a lot. Rebecca Ines say you are so right. Those of you who want to call, please call in so we can chat with you a little bit. Zwado Shedrick Gaite Jr. says, please educate us, bro. Most of us need to know some of these things. Thanks for the information. Fidel Dennis says, keep up the great work, brother. Thank you, Fidel. Appreciate it. So the call number is there. Please pick up the numbers and call. Somebody say please pick up the numbers and call. Let's have a conversation. Please let me know to our team in the back if we have a caller on the line, and then we can actually go from there. But that is my argument. Newon Tulo Flomo, my own sister, said, Leo, I think we Liberians just don't stand people saying the truth. The truth is the truth. Keep on pushing for us, dear brother. Thank you, Newon. I actually appreciate it. Let me ask you, the Chinese people herbs, what they used to call herbs, they've now institutionalized it in Western countries. It's now being accepted. In fact, doctors in Western countries are now recommending it to people to go get medical help. No, in Liberia, when they go and get really, really tough, when the hospital then give up on you, then we take you and carry you up interior to the old man and to go kill you. For what reason so? You disrespect them. But when the hospital gave on you, you're about to die. By the time you remember them. Our lawmakers, then some of them ended up in sick bush. After all the hospitals, when all the hospitals in the world gave up on you, you'd fly to India to go look for traditional herbalists in India to try and cure you because they say the traditional herbalists in India are powerful. What is wrong with yours? People themselves say, Mr. Johnson always advocate for culture and traditional practices or respect. But the laughable thing is his last name is Johnson, is Westerners in origin. Oh, so now you identify me based on my name. How disrespectful is that, Tipos? I'm sorry. The name Johnson and many other names are part of our Liberian. Maybe you don't know what our Liberian culture is. Maybe you don't understand it. And that is the problem with you. You think when we say Liberian culture that people are wearing bumpers and passing around without clothes and naked. You think when we say culture that people are passing around without shoes on their feet. Breaking news for you. Our culture is much more sophisticated than some of your Western systems. No, they're not people wearing bumpers. They lied to you. They told you people we were hunters and gatherers. It is a big lie. We were dealing in currency before Europe and North America caught up with knowing what money was. We were preserving food long before America and the Western world started to think about refrigerators. So please, sorry, yeah? Our culture is more sophisticated than you know. You might need to do a little bit of research to understand the depth of the Liberian culture. Ahmed K. Salih says, a culture of any society or country is a syncretism of many other cultures. Human experiences and others have developed the human condition. So to develop our local system, but not in our... Nobody's saying we must develop our systems in isolation. I'm only saying we have neglected it, abused it. So why are we abusing it? Why are we alarmed as to how badly we've treated it? I'm saying to us, let's embrace it. Where there are problems, let's fix it. Where it needs to be developed, let's develop it. Where it needs to be evolved, let's evolve it. Where we need to introduce new things, let's do that. But we can't be asking white people to do it for us. No. Why are we going to New York and Washington, D.C. to beg the white people to come to our country to help us face our culture? What's wrong with you? That time to bring our elders in, our Zols in, our custodians of the culture in to lead the way. The same money we can collect in our DSA when we come to conferences, let's start spending it on ourselves. So we can find a way forward. I'm begging you, my people. For those of you who are very passionate about this, like I said, hit the phone and call. Please, I beg you. Hit the phone and call. And for those of you who have commented, thank you also for sharing your ideas. For disagreeing with me, for those of you who actually disagree with me, But at least you can appreciate that we all need to think about this deeply than we have. We all need to have a serious conversation. Dr. Edison Pajibo again says we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used to create them. We embrace liberal education, pen-pushing education. With the introduction of the first elementary school in 1831, it's about time we take stock and invest in TVET. Absolutely true. No debate to that. DUJ Dekia says, excellent explication. My brother, thank you for your contribution here through your comments. D. Ken says, you are very right. Our Loma culture teaches discipline and respect for our elders, respect for women and the rules and order in our villages and towns. My brother, absolutely true. We know that, but only our people won't deny themselves of it. Joe Sherry said, brother, you never get solution with a bad leader. That is absolutely false. We have some bad leaders, we have some good leaders. Who told you the only leader in the country that President we are? Where is the space we're giving our traditional elders, our chiefs, our zones? In fact, they have greater impact than President we are. President we are didn't say that in Monrovia and cause no whole day. Who told you that President we are can be talking, making noise in Monrovia? If it wasn't for the chiefs, the elders, and the zones in towns and villages, Liberia would be at war. Liberia would be a lawless place because we not even get enough police people to protect Monrovia. We not even get our army not reach 3,000. So we better thank God for our traditional systems that has kept the country at peace. Oh, there you're thanking Onmill and other people. I agree. Onmill did their contribution. We must thank them. But you've neglected to thank our own traditional people and the traditional systems that have kept the balance without having any state security in most parts of the country. You know what? The people can leave their door open and go to the fire and come and nobody steal from it. You respect yourself. You know you're not supposed to. The consequences are too great for you to fool around in the villages in that manner. It's just too great for you to fool around. So you will know when somebody door open, you're not going to go steal somebody's chicken. Like in Monrovia, where we know plenty, we went to school, but we can poo in the plastic and throw it over the zinc. Then when the rain comes, we put bucket on the same zinc that we throw the poo over. Now in Monrovia, we can take out our organs and pee on the streets while people passing. We don't care. And we think it's normal, including those of us who come from the diaspora. Big time. And let me close on this point. The poorer society is a bastion of freedom. The poor and ascended societies is a bastion of freedom. It was a refuge for the majority of our population when discrimination, marginalization was targeted at them. Let me tell you the story since you don't know. Those days, there was a policy where the settlers were taking away native children, changing their names, sending them to Western schools and taking their children to live with them in the name of Christianizing them and civilizing them. So they will come and take away people's children from the native people because they felt the native people did not know better, that they were so behind time that they could not take care of their own. So they would take these people children to Christianize and civilize them and turn them against their own culture. That is the reason why some people today can look at our culture and insult it even though they are from it. So that is the reason why the poorest and ascended society became more and more institutionalized. So the only way our people could protect their children was to send them to the poorer and ascended society. The only way our people could gain any access to education was to send their children to the ascended and the poorer society so that it would protect them, but it will also educate them so that their children will not become useless people in society tomorrow. So before you open your mouth to start to castigate it, take a step back and do a little bit of reading. That's what the poor society stood for. That's what the ascended society stood for. Tony said, Leo, could you please discuss how Christianity has diluted and literally destroyed our traditional society? By the way, our people knew God way before white Christians showed up. Our people knew God. They had a relationship with God. So you stop the thing as if to say that white people show up to introduce God to our people. No, our people had an even more sophisticated understanding and relationship to God than this Christianity that has been so diluted today that we can't understand who's saying the truth versus who lying. But let me tell you again, show some respect for our cultures. Show some respect for our societies. Show some respect, because if it wasn't for them, a small number of people in Liberia could have decimated our entire population. There wouldn't have been a semblance of what our culture looks like today. Most of our languages would have been extinct if it wasn't for the poorer and ascended society. So I beg you, please, take a pause and a chill pill and read a little bit before you talk. Bob Sachs said if our culture was sophisticated, why there's no improvement in the life of our people as a Western society? You know why? Because it was being fought against and marginalized for over 170 years, and we are still doing it today. Because the resources of our country was absconded to build a Western system at the detriment of our traditional systems. If we had allowed our traditional systems to flourish, if we had allowed our sophisticated educators of the chiefs, our zones, our oracles to participate in building a society, guess what today? We would have had hospitals that can provide traditional Liberian medicine to treat sickness and illnesses that the West would have been respecting. And even with all the marginalization, still today, many of you in America and Europe, when you get sick, the white people hospital give on you, like, where place you can go? Your people, they can call and say, we must send you back to Liberia so they can send you to sick bush. Send Queen medicine can solve the problem. Till today's day, there are certain sicknesses in Liberia. You know, no Queen medicine for it. There's only one solution. It is traditional medicine. If Allah tell me, Allah, man. What's wrong with you? Emmanuel Barclay say, Leo, Ghanaians want to be Ghanaian. Guineans want to be Guinean, but only Liberians want to be everything else. Today, you're in America. By the time you get sick, no here, no take. Oh, one papa in Liberia, in Sino, or in whatever they say, you must send you there. Ahmed Salih said, what is education? What is our way of knowing, our ontological system and epistemological system? Oh, my brother, the BB book, Benil. Epistemological forms that we recognize and respect realistically to build and help our country function and compete. My brother, let's break the thing of our own money really. Basically, what you're saying is we need to embrace and accept our way of knowing and learning. And our way of knowing and learning before Western education came was through descended and poor society. Is our way of educating ourselves. And the results were evident. The results were evident. Today, your Western education, my brother who asked, say, why we not advance at the Western country? After over 175 years of Western education, where are we today? Please help me understand if you want to equate your argument. My people, now what I got to tell you, I've said it and I mean it. War Frames Analysis says, you are the only Liberian who criticizes at the same time offer solutions to the subject matter. My dear, thank you very much. We try. We do our best every single day. Jenkins Zoe Zuo Jr. said, brother, from the day I started following your show, you always brought serious sense to the discourse. You are one of the bright minds that Liberia has, and I hope our national government, other Liberians with the resources will see reason to invest in the educational system. Many thanks for the information and education, always kudos. Thank you, Jenkins. Much appreciated, my brother. Emmanuel Bagley said, Leo, keep educating our people, and one day they will get to know the truth and the importance of what you're saying. Thank you, Emmanuel. This is an issue of debate. If you have a better idea for our culture and developing it, bring it up. Tuni Liwei said, thanks for the correction. You are right. Religion is the right word. Thank you, Tuni. Priscilla Ninato said, okay, Leo, I will try to do this and leave you to do your thing. So the concern I was trying to make is that in as much as Oporo and Sene form part of the traditional education system of our ancestors in the North and West, just to correct you, they not form part of our ancestors. It still form part of majority of Liberians today. Outside of Monrovia and urban centers, majority of the children still go to the poor. It's the only form of education that they are able to access or can afford. There is another portion of ancestors in the South and Southeast who traditional and socialization, education, and social network do not include Sunday and poor. Therefore, to limit or equate Sunday and poor to our robust education system for the entire country. Okay, so I understand you, Priscilla. I'm using the poor and Sunday society because they are the two largest ones. But by extension, I'm also saying all of our other traditional education systems, right? So thank you for pointing out the specific, Priscilla. By extension, I'm referring this to all of our, I'm only using the poor and Sunday society because it's the most talked about ones. But that also extends to all of our other systems, traditional systems that we have so much abused, dismissed, and ridiculed. Alan Good says, the battle system was even better than those guys giving us worthless, colorful papers. My brother, I agree. The battle system was based on actual value. Then the worthless paper today, the government can get in their print money for no reason and waste it on the market. Then you'll say economy. Richard B. J.R. says our culture is important, but let's not underestimate globalization. How could poor and Senate provide computer technology, our traditional? So let me ask you today, how has the Western education you've been getting for 175 years, how has it provided computer technology? Look, we need to understand our place. Not every culture produces everything. The Western culture lends itself to that. So they did produce computer technology. Great. But what if our culture was designed to produce some of the greatest medication ever on earth? What if our culture was designed to build some of the most robust type of architecture that the small houses our old man can build in the villages that have gone for over 5 generations? Understand your place. What is this craziness that people think when they say globalization? That means because America making computer, then all of them make computer. Because the Chinese making drones, no. That's not what it's supposed to be. Find your competitive advantage. But what we've done, we've decimated, in those of you who know economics, and you know what competitive advantage is? We've decimated our competitive advantage. The thing that we were so natural and good at, we say it was too old school, it was archaic, but we want to borrow other people, and then we're asking how come we can compete with them? You can't compete with them because you are trying to compete with them at their competitive advantage. So, ladies and gentlemen, y'all thank you. Y'all thank you for joining today. I rest my case. Thank you for joining us on the Liberian Dream. Once more, the miseducation system in Liberia, until we can acknowledge that our education system was based on fraud, until we can acknowledge our education system as it is designed does not meet the needs of our country, until we can acknowledge that it did not come from a place of equity, it did not come from a place of genuine inclusion, until we can get to that point, until we can stop dismissing our traditional forms of education, until we can make our traditional forms of education a key pillar of our overall education system. And for once, sit down and build one that is in the interest of the little girl in Zogowi, the little boy in Palipo Ken, the little girl in Joplo Ken, the old man in Paita, the pape in Vonyama, until they all can see themselves as part of the education system, and rightfully so, because some of them are even more educated than the people that we depend on to teach us. We are doomed. And we will continue to say this. We will push for this type of transformations. We can't keep asking for reforms of a system that is completely broken, out of place, disconnected from our reality. But thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful time today on the Liberian Dream. And thank you. My name is Leo Nupolu Johnson, and I came to you live from the beautiful city of Hamilton in Canada. Have yourself a beautiful, beautiful week ahead of you. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.